From Egypt to Sumer, from China to Mexico, legends speak of one thing: a coiled serpent, buried in silence, and now it's stirring. The government says it's a myth. The museums say it's a hoax. But scattered evidence tells a different story, one of a beast sealed in stone, waiting for its time. In the endless sands of Egypt, beneath the scorching sun and timeless monuments, lies a secret buried deeper than any tomb. The Great Pyramid, the Sphinx, the Valley of the Kings, they tell a story of gods, pharaohs, and eternity. But what if these were merely surface distractions? A grand cover for something far older, far more terrifying. For centuries, whispers have echoed among desert winds, tales of a slithering force that once ruled the underworld, older than Ra, more feared than Anubis. Not a myth, some whisper, but a living being, a beast entombed in earth and time, hidden by ancient priests who feared its return. In forbidden texts, this creature was called Shekmet-An'sar, the Serpent of the Black Sun. Historians scoff, Egyptologists erase, museums deny, but scattered fragments remain, torn pages, sealed letters, and a handful of explorers who dared to look too deep. Some vanished, others returned, changed. Tonight, we pull back the veil on a forgotten chapter of history, one written in blood, sand, and silence, because beneath the legacy of kings, something still stirs. Long before the dynasties of Egypt carved their legacies into stone, there were oral traditions, sacred words spoken only among initiates of the deepest temples. In the Temple of Dendera, high above the Nile's bend, faded inscriptions tell of an entity not listed in any modern mythology: Shekmet-An'sar, the burning coil of the earth. It is depicted not as a symbol, but as a monstrous winged serpent with obsidian black scales and a single golden eye, an eye that sees both the living and the dead. Most dismiss this as metaphor, but in the subterranean crypts of the temple, where tourists are not allowed and only a few scholars have descended, there exists a wall relief showing something deeply unsettling. A procession of priests carrying not offerings, but weapons, spears, torches, and nets, marching toward a gaping pit marked with the hieroglyph for void. Beneath it, a single word, repeated 3 times: awakening. Even more mysterious are the writings found in the lesser-known tombs of Saqqara. In tomb KV39, a priest named Nephtekanu wrote of a serpent of blood that sleeps beneath the throne of Osiris, fed by silence and sealed by fear. The papyrus fragment that mentions this was found partially burned, and no official translation exists in academic circles. It never reached the Cairo Museum. The team who uncovered it later claimed it was a forgery, though their sudden withdrawal from archaeology and complete media silence raised questions. Then there are the Black Scrolls, controversial artifacts said to have been smuggled out of Egypt in the 1920s. Written in a blend of Middle Egyptian and an unknown script, the scrolls allegedly describe a being sealed beneath the earth by a ritual involving 13 priests, a blood eclipse, and a chant that burns the soul of the listener. No one can confirm the scrolls exist, but a private letter from 1923, recovered in an estate sale in Marseille, references one by name. The Black Sun coils beneath Giza still. Were these mere myths? Dark stories whispered to frighten enemies and control the masses? Or do they point to something Egypt itself tried to forget? In 1849, British archaeologist James Devereux led a small, privately funded expedition to Egypt, far from the eyes of the British Museum or the Egyptian Antiquities Service. According to fragmented journal entries discovered decades later, Devereux had obtained access to a set of unpublished maps from a French explorer, allegedly revealing subterranean cavities beneath the Pyramid of Khafre, previously unmarked on any known cartography. His team, 12 men strong, including 2 engineers and a linguist, vanished without a trace. The only physical record that remains is a torn page from Devereux's field diary, recovered in 1872 from a box sold at auction in Glasgow. It reads, "The air grows thick with heat, not the sun's warmth, but something older, metallic. A vibration beneath our boots, rhythmic like a breath. I believe we stand upon something alive. There are symbols here I cannot recognize, yet they pulse with light when touched." One of the men screamed after seeing the walls shift. A presence lingers in the dark. That was the final known entry. 3 months later, a single survivor was found wandering the desert near Bahariya Oasis, dehydrated, barefoot, and unable to speak coherently. He had scratched strange spiral shapes into his arms and chest. Witnesses claimed he muttered in a language no one recognized and screamed at the mention of Khafre. He died in an asylum in Alexandria weeks later. The official explanation? Heat stroke-induced delirium, bandit ambush, loss of direction. But among some circles, the Devereux expedition became legend, a cautionary tale about digging too deep. The British Museum denies the expedition ever existed. No names of the crew are recorded, no funding logs survive. It's as if history itself tried to forget them. Yet rumors persist. A retired French archivist once claimed to have seen Devereux's private sketches, diagrams of a massive underground chamber lined with obsidian walls, and at its center, a coiled structure labeled simply dormant. In the spring of 1997, a US-backed geophysical team arrived at Giza under the pretense of conducting seismic surveys near the Sphinx. Officially, their goal was to map the substructure of the plateau. Unofficially, leaked communications revealed something far more curious: the detection of hollow voids beneath the Sphinx's left paw, arranged in a circular formation, almost serpentine. What raised further alarm were the thermal anomalies. Using infrared scanners during night sweeps, the team recorded narrow trails of heat signature movement, as if something beneath the ground was shifting. Slow, rhythmic, alive. Despite pressure from academics to release the data, the project was abruptly shut down within weeks. Equipment was confiscated. Access to the chamber was revoked. Members of the team refused interviews. One anonymous technician later claimed in an online forum post that was quickly deleted that during a borehole drill test, their fiber optic probe was pulled downward by something that should not have been moving. The story might have died there, if not for the footage. In 2011, a grainy video surfaced on a conspiracy website. Shot in night vision, it appears to show a sealed tunnel near the Sphinx, guarded by military personnel. A muffled hiss echoes from within. The camera shakes violently before cutting out. Debunkers called it fake, but the uploader claimed it had been smuggled from a private server used by contractors working with the Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities. More tangible are the records from a 1984 Soviet geological survey. Declassified in 2015, the documents contain references to non-harmonic subterranean resonance beneath Giza. One section describes deep pulses detected in the earth. Unlike any known tectonic activity, the Soviet team recommended halting all deep earth drilling in the area. The reason? Unexplained internal movement inconsistent with geological expectations. Even in the satellite age, the region guards its secrets. Images of the area taken by private firms often show blurring or distortion in key zones near the pyramids, a phenomenon rarely acknowledged. When questioned, companies cite data corruption. But some believe the truth is simpler, that beneath the dust and stone, something waits, something ancient, and perhaps no longer dormant. The entity buried beneath Giza may seem like a uniquely Egyptian legend, but eerily similar tales echo across the globe. In Sumerian myth, long before pharaohs, there existed the Ushumgal, great dragon serpents said to guard forbidden knowledge. These creatures lived beneath ziggurats and emerged only during blood eclipses. Texts from the ancient city of Eridu describe one such being as the coiled judge beneath the foundation. In Mesoamerica, the Aztecs revered Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity who descended into the underworld and returned transformed. Though often presented as a god of wisdom, early colonial records describe native legends in which the being was not divine, but a creature from before the sky cracked open. One explorer noted, "The elders speak of a buried beast wrapped in gold and fire, sealed by a mountain with eyes." In China, the myth of Shanglu, a nine-headed serpent who poisoned the land, includes a peculiar footnote in the classic of Mountains and Seas. It tells of a chamber underground, guarded by priests in black, where the creature's living shadow remains. Even Norse legends whisper of Jormungandr, the world's serpent, sleeping deep within the ocean, encircling the earth, waiting for a time to rise. These tales span continents and centuries, yet they share motifs. Serpents beneath the ground, guardians of knowledge or judgment, and a cycle of silence and reawakening. Could they be fragments of a forgotten global memory? Were ancient cultures interpreting the same phenomenon through different lenses, each pointing to something buried, something real? So what then is Shekmet-An'sar? A myth, a misunderstood metaphor, or a remnant of a forgotten epoch, something pre-human, perhaps even pre-Earth? A growing fringe theory suggests that the Great Pyramids were not tombs at all, but containment structures. Not built to honor the dead, but to keep something sealed. Their shape, alignment, and impossible precision may not have served cosmic harmony, but rather geometric stability, designed to suppress vibration, movement, life. Some speculate the creature is not entirely biological, that its form, described in both myth and obscure accounts, suggests a biomechanical entity, a fusion of ancient organic matter and unknown engineering. A guardian, a prisoner, or something else entirely. Others believe the serpent was not from this world, that it was brought here or awakened here by a civilization lost to time. Perhaps the one whose knowledge inspired Egypt's sudden leap into monumental architecture. A civilization erased deliberately for reasons unknown. And still others warn that the seals are weakening. Minor quakes near Giza, magnetic disturbances, animal migrations gone wrong. Some researchers claim the ancient warnings were not poetic metaphors, but literal. When the sun burns black and the sky splits, the coil shall stir. Ultimately, we are left with fragments, whispers, and denials. But in the quiet spaces between official history and ancient fear, a presence moves. Some secrets sleep for a reason.